Hello, my name is Paul Priestley and this is ArtTutorialsOnline.com. Today I'm going to be showing you how to paint a landscape in acrylic. So we're going to be concentrating on depth, the idea being to put the background at the back and the foreground at the front. Let's make a start. For this painting demonstration I'll be using the following colours. I'm working in acrylic, ultramarine, titanium white, lemon yellow because it's a cool yellow, cadmium yellow because it's warm yellow, crimson, cool red, cadmium red because it's a warm red. You'll see the significance of these colours later on. The idea behind this painting is just to show you how to create a landscape by using a very simple idea of three different tones. So we'll have a light tone in the background, mid-tone and a stronger tones in the foreground. Colours also get paler and bluer as they go into the distance. So I'm just going to do blocking a very simple landscape idea. So I'm taking a little bit of my blue, a tiny drop of white, and just going to very simply block in a few little hills. So we've got various amounts of land here. This is going to be my foreground, this is going to be my background. I'm going to start by simply blocking in the sky. Now what I would suggest is don't mix up your colours before you apply them. Try to apply them directly to the screen. Do the colour mixing on the painting, not on the palette. So I'm going to take a big dollop of white paint on my brush, tiny little drop of blue, and I'm just going to block. You see here, oh, very dark colour there, but all I need to do is put a little bit of white on top and just block the colours in, but don't blend it too much because you really want, you could use cobalt blue in the top as well, you see, because you want. I'm blocking this in. I might take a teeny weeny minute drop of crimson and then go back to my white and I'm going to block in the colour. The softer the more water you put with this, the softer the paints become. But you see how I can just blend this and give it a few little stroking movements to create a nice image. Now, if you want to give the sky a little bit more interest, then it's often a good idea to just put in a few brush strokes. I'm just going to use a little bit of my yellow. I'm going to mix a tiny drop of lemon yellow, a little bit of the blue, tiny drop of the crimson, and you get this slightly sort of greyish colour, which I'm just going to block in a few little spots. So I'm just tapping with my brush, little touches of white maybe on top, and maybe then just blend in some elements. Okay, right, we're not going to spend too much time on the clouds because obviously it's the landscape we're considering today. Now, to paint the background hills, the ones that may be right over here, I want to try to make the colour look as though it's going into the distance. And to do that, I need to mix a cool green, and the cool green is going to be basically lemon yellow, a little bit of ultramarine, and lots of white. But it's going to be slightly more bluish. So, again, don't mix too much of the colour together to start with, but it's going to be very light. And I'm just using my brush very gently, smoothing some of this colour out here. Light bluish tone in the distance. See, you can put a little bit more bluish tone on if you wish, just to suggest a little bit of shadow here and there. Okay, now as we come closer, everything gets slightly warmer. You can, if you wish, run your brush just along the edge, just to soften that edge down a little bit. So, I want to make it slightly darker, slightly stronger than this one. Okay, still quite a cool green. If you want to add just a little bit more blue to it in areas, you see, all I'm doing is simply blocking in the colour as I go along. You see, just put a little bit of blue in, because you don't want the blue to look too, you don't want the green, should I say, or the landscape to look too similar. You don't want to mix nice, neat shapes. If you want to, you can drag your brush in the direction of which the land runs, just so that you can begin to create a nice effect. You see, also the brush strokes will tell you how the land is forming. We see some areas that are just slightly lighter, some slightly darker as they come through. And we're going to add a little bit of cadmium yellow to our mix. So lots of cadmium in here, tone and green. So when I come down here, you can see each one gets slightly stronger, slightly warmer. You can see now that looks a very strong yellow. But you see, I would go over that with a little bit of the blues and whites. Thick. You see how my brush strokes are pulling down here, and I can create quite a nice effect with the line of the brush stroke. So here I'm just putting a little bit more blue on my brush, you see, and blending that in. Might make it even stronger still down here, look. So you can see how each one of these is getting slight in tone, and as we go different in tone, it begins to look. The foreground here, I'm going to use now a nice warmer yellow, warmer green. So I'm going to mix up a warmer green, but this time I am not using any white. And you can see now my green, mixing my green up here. And you'll notice the edges on here are beginning to become a little sharper. As I come further forward still, I'm going to block in warmer greens, and I'm going to make it slightly dark. Lots and lots of yellow, no whites this time, and my brush strokes are getting bolder. And the reason they're getting bolder is because brush strokes also make the painting look. You see, I'm beginning to suggest how we're beginning to create the depth into the painting simply by using sharp edges. You see, I've got a little bit of blue on here, blend that in, makes my edge look that little stronger. And doing the same over here too. And I'm going to give my brush stroke movement here. And as I come over here, I may add a touch of white to this, my lemon yellow and the blue, just to bring it down, just to suggest those little nice different tones, as you can see. As I get to the foreground, I'm now going to change my brush, and this time I'm going to add texture to the scene. What I'm going to do this time is to add a tiny drop of my cadmium red to the yellow, make it slightly orangey colour, and I'm going to dab. I'm going to put a little bit of lemon yellows in here, a little bits of white, maybe put a little bits of blues and greens in too. Now the reason that I'm doing this, we're creating foreground, and at the foreground I've got these nice textures. I'm beginning to make this ground look much rougher because it's closer to me. It's going to give me depth in my picture. Now obviously by using various blues and various greens and so on, you can create lots of interesting imagery. I'm going to move on a little bit further with maybe oranges and yellows. You'll see how this works. So we'll just finish this a little bit off. You can just dab in colours as I've been using here. Keep the edges quite tight. I'm putting some reds in. I might even put a little bit of crimson in as well, slightly darker crimson. I'm just blocking some of these colours in with that. And then I work over the top with the lemon yellows. Colour doesn't become too strong, but this eventually might become grasses, whatever you want it to be. The more texture you can put into your work here, the more interesting it will look. We've just basically done the underpainting, blocking in these bits at the bottom here. This is sort of stage one of our landscape painting. What we've learned from this is simply this. Put your sky in first of all, make it nice and light, mix the colour on here, add a little bit of texture if you want to create the clouds. The background, very, very pale green, cool yellow, lemon yellow, with the ultramarine, lots and lots of white, soft edges. Then the colours here, a little bit less white, same colours, slightly stronger edges. As we come down here, then the yellows become warmer, the edges become sharper, and you get that effect of depth into the picture. With a texture in the foreground, you can see the brush marks here because they're vertical against these horizontal sweeps, makes things look as though they're going into the distance. This is stage one. Stage two will be in the next video. Thank you for watching ArtTutorialsOnline.com. I hope you've enjoyed watching the video. My name is Paul Priestley. If you want to watch more of my videos, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.